You see someone you want to talk to. Maybe it's someone at a coffee shop, a new coworker, someone at a party, and your brain just blanks. You run 10 different lines in your head, reject all of them, and the moment passes. Sound familiar? Here's the truth nobody tells you. It's not that you don't have anything to say. It's that you've been taught the wrong way to start. You've been told to have the perfect opening line, some clever, rehearsed thing that's supposed to impress people. That's exactly why it's not working. In this video, I'm going to break down the actual mechanics of starting a conversation with anyone, a stranger. A coworker, someone you're attracted to, doesn't matter. Not tricks, not pickup lines. The real psychology of why people freeze, and the exact formula to fix it. Stick around till the end because part 7 is the one thing most people get completely backwards, and it's probably why your conversations keep dying after hey. Let's get into it. Before we talk about what to say, you need to know why you freeze up in the first place. When you see someone you want to talk to, your brain treats it like a threat, not a small moment. It's the same fight-or-flight system that kept your ancestors alive around predators, now firing because you're scared of rejection in front of a stranger who'll forget you in 10 minutes. Your brain runs a simulation. What if they think I'm weird? What if it's awkward? What if they just walk away? That simulation feels so real your body reacts before anything's happened. Heart rate spikes, mouth goes dry, and your mind full of things to say 2 minutes ago goes blank. Here's what matters. Freezing isn't a personality flaw. You're not a people person. It's a threat response doing its job aimed at the wrong target. Once you get that, you stop trying to be confident and start working with your nervous system instead of against it. Most people's first instinct is to use a generic opener, "Hi, how's it going? Nice weather." And then they wonder why the conversation dies 30 seconds later. Here's the problem. A generic opener gives the other person nothing to respond to. "How's it going?" only has one real answer, "Good, you?" And then you're both standing there with nothing left. You didn't actually start a conversation. You just exchanged a greeting. The goal of an opener isn't to sound impressive. It's to give the other person an easy, natural thing to respond to something specific enough that it invites a real answer, not just a reflex. Think about the difference between nice weather and okay. Is it just me or has it been unnaturally hot this whole week? One is forgettable. The other actually asks for their opinion. This is the shift you need to make. Stop thinking about what to say to sound good and start thinking about what gives the other person something real to react to. Once you make that shift, the pressure of finding the perfect line disappears because there isn't one. There's just a formula. And that's what I'm giving you next. Here's the actual formula that works in almost any situation. Observation plus question. You notice something real about the moment you're both in the environment, something they're doing, something about them, and you turn it into a question. That's it. That's the whole formula. Let's break it down with examples. If you're in line at a coffee shop and they order something unusual, you say, "Okay, I have to ask, what is that? I've never seen anyone order that." That's an observation. You notice something specific followed by a question that invites them to explain. If you're at a work event and someone's standing alone near the snack table, you could say, "Please tell me this cheese plate is as good as it looks. I'm 2 seconds from grabbing a plate." Light, specific, easy to respond to. Notice none of these are clever or rehearsed. They're just honest reactions to what's actually happening, turned into a question. That's why this formula works everywhere. Because you're never running out of material. Wherever you are, there's always something happening around you or something interesting about the person in front of you. You just have to say it out loud instead of keeping it in your head. Let's get more specific because observation plus question can look different depending on the situation. There are 3 types you'll use most often. Number 1, situational. This is commenting on something in the shared environment, the event, the location, the moment. Is it just me or is this the longest line in human history? It works because you're both already experiencing it, so there's instant common ground. Number 2, specific compliment plus question. Not nice shirt, that's generic and people barely register it. Instead, where did you get that jacket? I've been looking for something like that. The specificity is what makes it land, because it proves you actually noticed them, not just said something automatic. Number 3, direct and curious. This is when you skip the setup entirely and just ask what you're actually curious about. Random question, do you work around here? Or are you just visiting? People respond well to directness when it comes with genuine curiosity instead of nervous energy, because it feels honest instead of calculated. Here's something almost nobody talks about, and it's the actual reason most conversations die. It's not the opener. It's what happens right after. Most people build up all their courage to say the opening line, get a response, and then freeze again because they didn't plan past that point. The conversation dies in the second exchange, not the first. The fix is a simple loop. Ask, listen, share, repeat. You ask a question, you actually listen to the answer, not just wait for your turn to talk, and then you share something small about yourself that connects to what they said. Then you ask another question based on that. For example, they tell you they're visiting from out of town. You share something quick like, "That's awesome. I actually went there for a wedding last year. Did you get a chance to check out the old part of the city?" See what happened there? You didn't just ask another question out of nowhere. You added a piece of yourself first, which makes it feel like a conversation instead of an interview, and then you kept it moving. This loop is what turns a 10-second exchange into an actual conversation. It takes the pressure off finding one perfect thing to say, because now you have a repeatable system you can lean on every single time. Let's talk about the moment everyone's afraid of: the silence. It's going to happen. Even in great conversations, silence happens. The difference between someone who's good at this and someone who isn't that the good one never experiences silence. It's that they don't panic when it happens. Silence feels 100 times longer to you than it actually does to the other person. What feels like an eternity is usually 2 or 3 seconds. And it's not automatically a bad sign. Sometimes it just means the other person is thinking, or genuinely comfortable enough not to fill every gap. If you want a simple way to move past it, don't try to force a brand new topic out of nowhere. Go back to something they mentioned earlier that you didn't fully follow up on. Wait, actually, going back to what you said about your trip, how long were you there for? This works because it shows you were actually listening, and it gives the conversation a natural direction again instead of an abrupt subject change. The biggest mindset shift here: stop treating silence like proof that you're failing. Treat it like a normal part of a real conversation, because that's exactly what it is. This is the part I mentioned at the start, because it's the piece most people get completely backwards. Most people avoid starting conversations because they're afraid of rejection, being ignored, getting a short answer, an awkward look. But here's what's actually true almost every time that happens. It's not personal. The other person might be distracted, having a bad day, in a rush, or just shy themselves. You have no idea what's going on in their head, so assuming it's about you is just a story you're telling yourself with zero evidence. Here's the reframe that actually changes how this feels. Every conversation you start is a 50-50. Either it goes well and you had a good interaction, or it doesn't go well and you get instant information: "This isn't the moment or the person. Move on." Both outcomes are fine. Neither one means anything about your worth. The people who seem naturally good at starting conversations aren't the people who never get a bad reaction. They're the people who stopped attaching their self-worth to a stranger's response. Once you genuinely believe that, the fear that's been stopping you starts losing its grip, because there's nothing left to actually be afraid of. The skill of starting conversations isn't something you're born with or without. It's a skill, exactly like any other, and skills only build through reps, not through watching one more video and thinking about it. The gap between people who are good with people and people who aren't usually isn't talent. It's just reps. So take the one thing from this video and actually use it this week. If this helped you, that's exactly the kind of thing I make videos about every Friday: confidence, discipline, and mindset. The stuff that actually moves the needle in real life, not just theory. Drop a comment and tell me what's the situation you're going to try this in this week. I read every single one, and I might make the next video based on what you say. If you're new here, hit subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss next Friday's video. And if you want to build real confidence instead of faking it, you're in the right place. I'll see you in the next one.